Does Clemson matter anymore in the world of college football? I'm seriously beginning to wonder. They've been on a downhill trajectory really since COVID. Now, look, there's no doubt about it. From 2014, 2015 through 2018, 2019, even 2020 to some extent, Clemson was one of the best programs in the country. They were winning the ACC every single year in their sleep. They were making the playoffs. They won 2 national titles. They were a dominant program for about a 5 or 6 year period. And they've been a really good program for over a decade under Dabo Swinney, going back really to the early 2010s. 2012, 2013 is when they really started to ascend. The last 3 seasons for Clemson have not been good. At least 3 losses every single year, 4 losses this past season, all in the regular season this past season too. Blown out week 1 against Duke. And we keep hearing the sort of the same kind of concerns expressed about Clemson, the Clemson program, Dabo Swinney, things like that. Is he stuck in his ways? College football, has it passed him by? The NIL and the transfer portal questions as it relates to Clemson just won't go away. And Dabo doesn't really seem to be doing anything to address that. He just doesn't. Clemson has finished dead last in the ACC in the transfer portal rankings every single year that the transfer portal rankings have existed. They have never signed more than 1 transfer in a season. And you go back to last year, they signed 1. It was a 12th string quarterback out of like Northwestern or something who was at Clemson prior. Clemson had signed him out of high school. He wasn't any good. He transferred to Northwestern. He still wasn't any good. Transferred back to Clemson where he still wasn't any good. This year they signed 0, none. Not a single transfer has Clemson signed this year heading into 2024. Now, that's not to say they won't sign one tomorrow or, maybe in the spring when the portal opens back up or whatever the case, but they've got glaring, like blinking red light weaknesses and concerns on that roster. The same concerns really for 2 or 3 years, and they've done absolutely nothing to address it during the portal, in the portal. And this is after watching a team last season, Florida State, ascend to the top of the ACC via the portal. It is mind-numbingly confusing to try to understand why Dabo Swinney just will not give in and utilize the portal. And you can say, well, they don't need the portal, they recruit well. Do they? They do. They recruit good. They don't recruit great. They don't recruit in the top 10. They're just outside the top 10 almost every single year. They're outside the top 10 in 2024. They recruit good. They don't recruit great. And even the teams that do recruit great, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, whatever, on down the list, all of these teams still utilize the portal to plug holes. Now, no one is suggesting for 1 second that Clemson needs to go out and use an Ole Miss or a Colorado sort of game plan where you try to bring in 15 or 20 transfer players. But for Christ's sake, look, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a Clemson fan, I would literally be banging my head against this wall on a continuous basis. How many seasons in a row, as a Clemson fan, are you expected to watch your offensive line struggle to block anything with a heartbeat, and then watch your coaching staff do nothing about it via the portal? How many years in a row, as a Clemson fan, are you supposed to watch your team trot a bunch of wide receivers out on the field who nobody can name? Outside of the Clemson fan base, I guarantee the average college football fan can't name a Clemson wide receiver. What happened to forget Sammy Watkins, you don't even have a Hunter Renfrow. The defense has been okay, I'll give you that. But you're still limping along on the Brent Venables recruits and defense. We'll see what happens going forward. I don't think that defense is going to maintain the level it's been at over the last 4 to 5 years. I don't think it's going to fall off a cliff. I don't think anything about Clemson is going to fall off a cliff. That's not the point of this video. Dabo Swinney is a good football coach. He will develop the players he has and put Clemson in positions to win a lot of their games. That's not. I'm not. Look, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Clemson's not about to start winning 5 and 6 games a year. Okay? They're going to continue to win 8, 9, 10 games a year, but is that what you want? As a Clemson fan, you're recruiting in the top 15 every single year. The ACC is an absolute shithole. The ACC is a refugee camp of college football programs. It's horrendous. It's terrible. Georgia Tech finished like tied for 4th in the ACC last year. They can't get out of the. They're terrible. You should be dominating. I don't get it. 2 years ago, when it was first announced we were heading to a 12-team playoff, which starts this coming season, 2 years ago, if you'd asked me, I'd have said, I guarantee you Clemson will be in that 12-team playoff every year for the foreseeable future. Right now, as I look forward, they better win the ACC. I don't see another way they get in. The only way Clemson will get in is by winning the ACC. And that will get them in because the winner of the ACC is guaranteed to get in. Your 6 highest-ranked conference champions are guaranteed to get into the playoffs. But my God, as far as Clemson being an actual top 5, 6 team or something, no, they're not. They're bringing back that same offensive line from last year that's not any good. It couldn't protect Cade Klubnik. They're bringing back Cade Klubnik, who's terrible. He's the worst quarterback they've had. I don't know how far you got to go back. He's worse than Kelly Bryant. He's worse than DJ Uiagalelei. He ain't even in the same stratosphere as quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson. I mean, how far back do I have to go? Willie Corn before I find somebody as bad as fucking Cade Klubnik? Clemson turned the ball over in every single game last season. Every single one. That's why their helmet's upside down. All they had to do was go one game without turning the ball over to get their helmet turned right back right. They didn't go a single game without turning the ball over, and Cade Klubnik's a big reason why. Clemson's head has been kept above water the last 2 seasons by one person, Will Shipley. He's gone. Now, to be fair, I do like Maffa. He's a good running back, but let's be real. This is 2024. You need 2. I'm telling you right now, Maffa alone is not going to be as good as Maffa was with Will Shipley. He's just not. That's just not the way it works nowadays in college football. You got to have 2 running backs that you can rotate in and out, a change of pace type of thing. Plus, it keeps both running backs fresh. Maffa's not going to be as good or as productive in 2024 without Will Shipley as he was the last couple of years with Will. It's just not. I already talked about the wide receiver situation, which doesn't exist. Your offensive line is terrible. Cade Klubnik's the 8th or 9th best quarterback in the ACC. This guy doesn't scare anybody. And defensively, you're maintaining. But in my opinion, what has happened to the offense over the last couple of years is foreshadowing of what's going to happen to the Clemson defense over the next couple of years. Dabo continuing to ignore the portal is the most mind-boggling aspect of college football right now. And college football is filled with mind-boggling aspects. Nothing tops Dabo Swinney's refusal to accept the transfer portal. I can't figure it out. If I was a Clemson fan, I'd be absolutely besides myself. They keep using the fans. Some of them keep using the same excuses over and over and over again. We can't use the portal. We're at our scholarship limit of 85. Everybody's at their scholarship limit. They still use the fucking portal. You push other players out the goddamn door. This is big-time football, man. This isn't the rec league. If a guy ain't cutting it, push his ass out the door. For Christ's sake, this whole we're a family and all in bullshit has got to be getting old to the tater man. God almighty. And to make matters worse, you look at the schedule and what do you see? A week 1 game looming with the University of Georgia. One of, if not the best teams in college football next year. Probably the best program in all of college football right now over the last 4 or 5 years. A team that's returning a ton of talent, a quarterback 1,000,000 times better than Cade Klubnik, a coaching staff 1,000,000 times better than yours, a defense better than yours, wide receivers better than yours, an offensive line better than yours, everything better. You can't beat Georgia in your good years. How are you going to beat them now? You're not. You're a 2-touchdown underdog in the offseason, looking ahead to that game, 12, 13 points, whatever it is. You're 18-43 all time against UGA. It's not like Clemson and Georgia have only played a handful of times. Clemson and Georgia have been playing for 100 years. Clemson's 18-43 against Georgia. This is going to be the second year in a row you get blown out in week 1. Now, it's going to be less embarrassing this year to get blown out by Georgia than it was last year when you let the Dukies run it in on you raw on national on a federal fucking holiday too, wasn't it? Was that a Monday night game? God, was that the Labor Day game? A federal fucking holiday. You let Duke do that to you. The only game on, everybody was watching it. They saw you dribble down your own leg. Off season comes around, and y'all do absolutely nothing to address your problems. I would love to hear from the Clemson fans. There's got to be upset Clemson fans out there besides that retard from wherever the fuck that called into the Dabo show and cussed them out. There's got to be other mad Clemson fans. Where are they?